Hi, my name is Maria Gisela Sanchez. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm one of the counselors that work at Counseling and Psychological Services at Kaupoli Pomona. I'm hoping that this presentation could help you understand a little bit more about what is mindful self-compassion, reflect about your own relationship with yourself, and hopefully get inspired to try to practice this helpful approach. So through the presentation, I would like to suggest you to maybe take notes. We're going to start our presentation with some reflective activity. So if you can have with you a notepad to take some notes or answer some questions, that may be very helpful. So let's start thinking a little bit about these questions. And again, if you have a way to write down your answers or just reflect with yourself about these questions, I'm going to give you some time. So the first question that I have for you is, what would you tell a friend that is struggling, especially when you are at your best? All right. So the next question is, when you feel bad about yourself or are struggling, how do you typically respond and what you tell yourself? Okay. Did you notice a difference between what you will tell a friend and what you tell yourself when you're struggling? And if you notice any difference, ask yourself why. Why not to try treating yourself like a good friend and see what happens? And this is really what this whole presentation is about, is an invitation to reflecting on the way in which we relate to ourselves and hopefully sparkling the initiative to make some shifting. So what is mindful self-compassion? Mindful self-compassion is a Western psychological approach that is heavily influenced by Buddhism and Eastern philosophy, is rooted on the practices of compassion and mindfulness, which we will be discussing shortly through this presentation. And a lot of the work that I'm going to be sharing with you today is based on the work of Christine Neff and Christopher Hermer. And I will be sharing with you guys also some resources to access their work directly. These psychologists have made extensive research on the benefits of mindful self-compassion, and they have found through their work and the work of many other researchers that self-compassion can actually enhance of emotional well-being. It boosts our happiness, reduces anxiety and depression, and help us maintain healthy lifestyle habits such diet and exercise. I'm sharing with you in this slide the image of the representation of compassion in Buddhism. And as you can see, it is a figure with many arms, 1,000 arms, which is representing what compassion is about and what humanity can be. We are all connected, we are all together, and we, in the conjunction of each other's support and arms, represent compassion. So what is mindfulness? I am sure you have heard about this word. It has become very popular in the last years. And mindfulness really is a skill, is a practice, and is an ability that we can get better at and develop. Mindfulness is really the capacity to be aware of our feelings or thoughts and our body sensations without judging them. It's a state of mind that is achieved by focusing on one's awareness in the present moment while acknowledging, like I say, what we're feeling, thinking, and what our body is experiencing. Mindfulness can be the first step in emotional healing. Being able to acknowledge our difficult thoughts and feelings may be the first step. A lot of people usually connect mindfulness to meditation, and that is true. Mindfulness can be achieved through meditation, but being mindful cannot only be done through meditation. We can practice mindfulness when we stop and try to give ourselves the time to notice, to observe ourselves, to reflect, to maybe even write or journal what we are experiencing. It's really when we make an intentional decision to slow down and to notice how we are feeling, thinking, and what our body is telling us. And what is self-compassion practice? So self-compassion practice is combined by three different important factors. The first one is self-kindness, the ability to be loving towards ourselves instead of being self-critical. So it's coming from that principle that we are going to be caring towards ourselves, that we're going to be supportive and loving towards ourselves, even, and of course, even more when we're struggling. The other principle of self-compassion is the sense of common humanity, is to accept the fact that everyone suffers, that you're not perfect, no one is, and you are not alone in that experience. Suffering is part of the human experience, and knowing that this is part of our common humanity helps us decrease the sense of isolation. It helps us feel more connected. Mindfulness is also a big part of self-compassion because we need to be able to notice our struggle. We need to be able to feel it instead of being reactive to it or avoiding it. It helps us also decrease over-identification of our suffering. When we are mindful about our struggles and our difficult experiences, we are acknowledging too that they can pass. That those ways in which we're feeling, thinking, or in the way in which our body sensations are momentarily. So we don't need to be completely attached to them or think that they're permanent, but we just need to notice them and accept them. So those are the three key components of self-compassion practice. When we think about how mindfulness and self-compassion together work, this is probably something to keep in mind. And it has to do with everything I have been sharing with you already. So mindfulness gives us that ability to be aware of ourselves in the moment, and also give us the ability to accept the painful experiences without resisting them, being with them. Very often, we as humans try to resist our pain and our suffering, and the reality is that resistance just only increases the suffering and prolongs it. So mindfulness and self-compassion in combination allow us to go through those painful times without extending them and allowing them to flow. Self-compassion really is the ability to hold our pain with love, not with criticism or self-rejection or punishment. And compassion really wishes for us, the experiencer, the person that is suffering, to have some comforting and soothing. And this is where compassion comes and can be demonstrated in the way we relate to ourselves. When we make that intentional decision of being actively comforting and soothing towards ourselves. So I would like to guide you now into a very helpful exercise to practice mindful self-compassion. This exercise called supportive touch. You could do this exercise either sitting or standing up. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to do it standing up so you can have a full view of me and hopefully guide you to it, okay? All right, so supportive touch is a very helpful exercise because when we touch ourselves, when we have contact with your skin, this is sending a message to our brain that releases a hormone called oxytocin, which is very helpful and is related to the ability to feel soothe and comfort. So I want to invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, what you could do is just soften your gaze, maybe focus your eyes on a point on the floor in a very relaxing way. And what we're gonna start doing first is make sure both of your feet are touching the ground, that now any parts of your body are crossing, that your body is relaxed. If you're sitting, maybe your arms are resting on your legs. If you're standing up, your arms are now crossed. They are just, relaxed near your body. So what we're gonna do first is I want you to take a deep breath and make sure that the air is inflating your abdominal area. So let's take a deep breath and release. Let's take another deep breath and release. So what I would like you to do first is to place your right hand over your heart on your chest. And as you're breathing, notice how it feels having your hand over your chest. Maybe you can now place your left hand over your right hand and take a deep breath, gentle breaths, and notice how it feels for you having both of your hands on your chest right over your heart. Now, I would like you to try to put your left arm over your shoulder, over your right shoulder. And then take a deep breath here. And notice how it feels while you're touching yourself this way. Maybe now you can place your right hand over your left shoulder, taking deep breaths, deep slowing breaths. Notice how it feels when you're touching and holding yourself in this way. Maybe now what we could do is place your right hand over your chest, over your heart, and the left hand place it over your abdominal area. And taking deep, soothing slow breaths, noticing how it feels when you're touching yourself in this way. Now I would like you to place your right hand over your right cheek on your head, and maybe let your left hand down and allow the weight of your head to rest over your hand, and take a deep, gentle breath. And notice how it feels for you to be in this position. You can also place your left hand over your other cheek and hold your face in whatever position feels best. And continue taking deep, gentle breaths, noticing how it feels for you when you are holding yourself in this way. It is possible that while we have been doing this exploration, maybe a way in which you have touched yourself before, or you touch yourself often in moments of tension or distress, may have come to mind. Maybe you realize supporting touch is something that you had been practicing without having that name for it. Or maybe while doing this exploration, you discover a particular way of touching that felt more soothing, that felt more helpful to you. So what I would like you to do is to allow yourself right now to go into that way of supporting touch that seems more helpful to you right now. So choose whatever that position is for you. And taking deep, gentle breaths. Enjoy the comfort that you can offer yourself by practicing supporting touch. Remember, this is a position that you can go at any time when you need it. This is a way in which you can support yourself at any time, in any place, when you need it. And taking one more deep breath. Appreciate yourself for giving yourself the time to explore a supportive way of being with yourself, for giving yourself the time to discover, for giving yourself the time to be with yourself. So whenever you're ready, take another deep breath. And we will come to the end of the practice. You could release your arms. open your eyes whenever you're ready. So I hope you have enjoyed this very simple and helpful practice of supportive touch. I hope that you have learned something new or discovered a new way in which you can be compassionate and helpful to yourself when you most need it. Some people may feel a little embarrassed about holding themselves in a certain way or touching themselves in a certain way. But the reality, we can do this at any point, even in a public space. No one needs to know what we're doing. We may just be putting our hand here and breathing like all humans breathe, and giving yourself a moment to comfort yourself. Thank you for practicing. So what are some other ways of practicing mindful self-compassion? Well, meditation apps have definitely become very popular and can be a great way of practicing mindfulness. There are many apps out there, many of them free of charge, so I will invite you to explore that option. But meditation may not be the only way in which we can practice mindful self-compassion. We can practice mindful self-compassion when we give ourselves the time to slow down and to reflect. Journaling can be a very helpful way. Many times we experience pain not only with words or feelings, but the pain may be experienced physically too. So giving ourselves the time to wonder, why is my neck hurting? Why do I have so many headaches? And maybe reflecting. Journaling can be very helpful. Another helpful way in which you could practice is maybe taking nature walks. Giving yourself some time to be in connection with nature, walking, reflecting, breathing. In the university, we have been also offering mindfulness as a space and a practice. I personally offer a Mindfulness Mondays group in collaboration with the Cesar Chavez Center. This group has been offered both face-to-face and remotely, so you're more than helpful to check or schedule for the coming semesters. And another way of maybe developing or getting ideas to practice mindful self-compassion could be by checking the resources available. I'm sharing with you a very helpful website. This is the website from Christine Neff and Christian Hermer. In their website, they have very good definitions and strategies and exercises to practice mindful self-compassion. And if you are interested in expanding your understanding of your relationship with yourself, maybe answering that question of why you may talk to yourself in such a different way than in the one that you talk to your best friend when they're struggling. Counseling can be a very helpful way to gain insight about that relationship. Counseling and psychological services in the university. We offer brief and confidential individual counseling. We offer well-being workshops and group counseling. We also have well-being coaching, case management. The students can contact us by calling our number. You can leave a message with your name, your Bronco ID, phone number, and best time to reach you. And we will make sure to get back to you to explore your needs and offer you resources. I hope this video had been helpful to you and had sparked your interest in exploring mindful self-compassion. Thanks again for watching and for practicing.